So Ezra Miller, the star of The Flash, who's played The Flash in the DCEU movies, is under a lot of controversy now, and it's pretty crazy, the stuff I've been reading about Ezra Miller. But the Flash movie that they shot for part of the DCEU is done. And on this video, I'm going to give you exclusive, just like how I did with The Matrix Resurrections, just like how I did with Shazam 2, just like how I did with Godzilla vs. Kong. You're going to have the exclusive full spoilers, full plot spoilers for The Flash, which is set to come out in June of 2023. So you're getting this a year ahead of time, okay? This is the legitimate plot of the movie with details and everything. Multiple sources have hit me up with this information. I want to preface some of the stuff here to let you know people have written, some of the stuff people have written online is true, but nobody has the full plot, but I've got it right here for you. The full trailer for this movie isn't even out yet, and that will confirm a lot of what I'm telling you in this little full spoiler for The Flash. And again, this is all stuff that I was told from multiple different people. I have not seen the movie myself, so we're going to get to it right now. So if you don't want to be spoiled, click off the video now because you're getting this a year ahead of time, okay? So this movie is based on Flashpoint, but the story's completely different. So the heart of the story is still based on Barry rescuing his mother from murder and proving that Henry Allen, his father, was innocent. So that story's still here, but the actual plot of the movie itself is different. It's like a DCEU version, and it's not verbatim to the comics. So the opening of the film is an action sequence in a hospital or around a hospital. There's terrorists who rob a bank and go in there to hide, and the building comes apart due to crossfire. So Flash races to the rescue. He goes there to the building. There's a scene with like a nurse putting babies back in their cradle, and all hell breaks loose, and they're about to, like, the babies are actually in danger of being killed. Flash uses the Speed Force to rescue the babies, and it's kind of a fun scene because you see him, like, you see this, like, debris float up, and, like, Flash is, like, using his powers to use it while he's eating food while he saves the baby. So it's just kind of a showcase of his power. Also, Ben Affleck's Batman is here, and he's on, like, a bike. So it's the Justice League together. Ben Affleck's Batman is here, the Flash, they're all there. So after the hospital has been rescued, the debris of the structure comes apart and it rips the asphalt, so it's like a mini earthquake. So Batman and Flash go to a bridge to rescue civilians, and Wonder Woman appears. Gal Gadot is here, very small cameo. It's only like a couple minutes. She helps them on the bridge. She's not really a big part of the movie, but she is here. So that's the opening sequence. We then go to Barry Allen at the courthouse with his father and Iris. And he's sad because his dad's going back to prison. Like, his dad, he's still, like, they're trying to find a way to get his dad out, but they haven't. He's still in. And he's innocent. He doesn't know what to do to fix everything, and he wishes he could somehow, like, fix everything. So he notices that there's a Mercedes-Benz following him when he leaves this whole thing. And out of the Mercedes-Benz, it's Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck. And they have a conversation, and Bruce understands that what happens is that he understands because his parents were also killed when he was younger, and he can't bring them back because, they're gone, but he can preserve their memory. So Flash addresses going back in time like he did in Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So does this mean the Snyder Cut is canon? This scene could change before the final cut, but they directly reference the Snyder Cut when he reversed time. So that does make me wonder about this. Like, is this a sequel to the Snyder Cut? Is that the intention? There's a lot of things going on that I find interesting. So Bruce Wayne says that, You can't bring them back because if you go through time, you can create a catastrophic time paradox in the universe and screw things up. So Barry goes home, but he still wants to do it, so he taps the Speed Force once again and goes back in time. But this time he goes way back. So he's trying to get to the moment where his mom is murdered so he can stop her from being killed. What ends up happening is he travels way too fast and he blacks out. But while he's going back in time, this sort of coliseum setting, like a coliseum is around him, which represents like a time warp, like a time vortex. It's not a real coliseum. And there's a creature that's like staring at him, who's chasing him, right, as he's in the Speed Force. So he blacks out, and we'll get back to that creature later. He blacks out, doesn't know where he ended up. He wakes up, and he assumes in the right time. So he wakes up, and he runs into the other Barry, the Barry from that timeline, also played by Ezra Miller himself. So they freak out a little bit, but it's not really that big of a deal because, you know, the past Barry thinks it's pretty cool. So he asks what year it is, and the Barry from the past says it's 2013. So there's a modern Barry in 2022 and one from 2013. Barry realizes this was the year he got his power. So he gets freaked out, like I said, but he realizes that 2013 Barry Allen does not have his powers yet. So 2013 Barry hides him. They had this emotional moment where they go to his house and he sees his mom, like, you know, cooking, and he's about to touch her, but the doppelganger stops him because he wants to, like, you know, see his mother again. So present time Barry, or 2022, 2023 Barry, tells 2013 Barry that Bruce Wayne told him to be careful with time paradoxes, so instead he wants to teach 2013 Barry how to use the Speed Force, so that way he can stop the murder from happening. Like, he doesn't want to mess with the timeline anymore. So our Barry realizes that he's never going to go to the lab to get struck by lightning now, so he takes Barry from 2013 to the laboratory to position him in the exact same place that he was in to guarantee he gets the flash powers from the lightning strike. So they go to the lab and it's thundering outside. He puts him in the right place, but what happens is our Barry, the present Barry, is standing in the way of 2013 Barry, so when the lightning strikes, they both get struck. So what ends up happening is modern Barry loses his powers while 2013 Barry gets the powers. So now the younger Barry is the Flash. So they go back to his house. They discuss this because he has to get his powers back to go back to his own time. He messed up big time. So modern Barry wants to go find the Justice League, but 2013 Barry doesn't even know what the Justice League is because they didn't form until after that. So it's played up for jokes because the Justice League does not exist at this point. 2013 Barry discusses the issues with Superman and the government because they're like, oh, I want to go see Superman, but he's got some issues with the government right now. But he doesn't know who Wonder Woman is and only's heard of Aquaman via rumor. So the only one they know of is Bruce Wayne because he's relatively famous. So they have this training montage where he teaches 2013 Barry how to go fast and tap into the Speed Force, and they get 2 new Flash suits, including the ring that carries the suit. So we actually see that in this movie. So if people were worried about how they were going to do this next part coming up, it's actually pretty cleverly done. So they go find Bruce Wayne. So both of them only know of the Ben Affleck Batman because that's the Batman in their universe. But when they go to Wayne Manor, it's not the same Wayne Manor. This is the mansion from the Tim Burton Batman movies, not the one in the DCEU. They're looking for Bruce, and they see an old man cooking spaghetti. He's got a big gray beard and crazy hair, and that's Michael Keaton. They get into a scuffle where it's Bruce Wayne with kitchen instruments versus the 2 Barrys, and Keaton says, "You want to get nuts?" from the 89 Batman, so he does say that line here. So everything calms down, and Barry's trying to explain to Michael Keaton's Batman, or Bruce Wayne, what is going on. And Michael Keaton seems to be pretty well versed about the multiple universe and how time travel can mess up the universe and how you can create alternate branching realities. Sort of like in the MCU, like the scene where in Endgame where Hulk is talking to the Ancient One. It's kind of like that, you know. So he knows a lot about it. So they realize that this day in 2013, they realize that this day is the exact same day when Zod invades in the Man of Steel movie. So that's how Michael Shannon is in the film. We're going to get to more of that here in a minute. So they want to go rescue Superman before the military hands him over to Zod in the desert. Because remember, Barry already knows what happens, and he thinks that he might need Superman to help him get back to his time and to get his powers back. So Michael Keaton is pretty hesitant because he's lost a lot of people in his life. He's all scarred up. He's an old, beat-up Batman. So Bruce tells him, just find your way out. He doesn't want to be a part of this. So both Barrys they find the Batcave on accident. And they have the classic Tim Burton Batmobile, the same one from Batman 89 and Batman Returns, literally the same car. So our Barry calls out 2013 Barry for goofing off too much and wants him to be more serious and mature because later on down the road, people need help. Our Barry even realizes he has to mature as well. So this is kind of a coming-of-age story in a way, you know. He takes it more seriously. So they have that talk, but there's a little bit of animosity here. So when you hear a bunch of loud noises, you turn over and it's Michael Keaton as Batman. He says he's down to help. So Batman returns, they flip on a light, and he's in the Batman bat suit with the yellow bat symbol. And you see like 7 bat suits, all with different upgrades, kind of like Tony Stark's armor, right? All up on the wall. And there's even an Easter egg where Barry finds the Joker's laughing bag, the one from the end of Batman 89 when he fell or whatever. They find it at the end of the film. He even finds it in Wayne Manor. So Batman is back, Michael Keaton, in this timeline to help them out. Because remember, in the timeline he went back to, that Barry only knows the Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne. So something got really messed up when he went back in time because multiple timelines have been crossed now. So they go on a rescue mission to go to this Russian facility or whatever. It's probably somewhere in the U.S. I don't really know, but the term Russia was told to me. And that's where Superman's being held. So they get there. Both Flashes and Batman fight the guards, even though Flash does not have his powers. And Keaton's a total badass here. We see some really awesome Batarang action. So they take out the guards and get to the floor where they're holding Superman. But when they get there, it's not Superman, it's Supergirl. The timeline has been altered again. So apparently, in this movie, she's not a woke character. That's what some people thought she was going to be, but she's not. She doesn't trust any humans. So, like from Earth. So they rescue her and they go back to Wayne Manor. So there's a scene where Barry puts a blanket over her, I'm guessing to hide the Batcave. And that is here. So she wakes up later on, and they discuss that her cousin Kal-El, which is Superman, died on the way to Earth, so he's dead, but Supergirl makes it to Earth in this timeline. So she doesn't join them right away, but what happens is they talk about what Zod is doing. It's the same thing as Man of Steel, where he wants to get the Codex or whatever. They want to harvest her powers and build a new Krypton on Earth. It's the same plot, but it's Supergirl this time, and things have changed. So she's apprehensive to join, but Barry realizes they can't fight because our Barry does not have power. So there's a thunderstorm outside, and Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne offers to help. So he straps Barry to an electric chair and straps a bat kite to electrocute him. Electrocute the kite into the chair, sort of like the Benjamin Franklin thing, you know what I mean, to revamp Barry's powers. But it does not work. He gets electrocuted, but he doesn't get his powers. So basically, and what sucks, from what I was told, is that Ezra Miller, despite all the controversy he's in right now, like, he happens to be really good in this film. Like, he happens to be excellent in this movie. It's a great performance, but that might not even mean anything because of what's going on with him and all the crap he's in real life now. So 2013, Barry's getting frustrated and very desperate. So Supergirl comes in with her outfit. She picks up Barry and takes him into the sky, and the lightning strikes him and then knocks him into the ground. So that scene in the fandom teaser where you see a scorched hand in the Batcave, that, and you see a regular hand, that's Doppelganger 2013 Barry touching our Barry after being struck by lightning. So he gets the powers back. So now there's 2 Flashes, Supergirl, and Michael Keaton's Batman, who all want to go to fight the Kryptonians in the desert. Now again, this plot summary, I'm only going through the major plot points, not scene by scene, because I haven't seen the whole movie yet and I haven't been told everything, but this is the general plot of the film. There's obviously more scenes and stuff like that where things get built up, because you can't summarize a movie like scene by scene in a video. It's just very difficult. So Barry puts on the suit, but now the problem is that, you know, they need another Flash suit, so they take one of the bat suits and turn it into a Flash suit for the 2013 Batman. One of the Keaton, I'm sorry, the 2013 Flash. One of the Michael Keaton bat suits. So that's supposed to be a cool scene. So then we cut to the desert. Now this is the same scene as Man of Steel, but things play out differently. So the Kryptonians want the government to hand over Superman, Kal-El, but they don't have Superman. Because remember, Supergirl was rescued. So Zod kills the general, aka the Martian Manhunter. That surprised me. And then decides to just world engine in the desert instead of the city. So he wants to create the Kryptonian thing in the desert instead of the city this time. So what happens is they fight with the Kryptonians and the military here. The military and the Kryptonians fight, and then Batman shows up in the classic Batwing from Batman 89. This is awesome. Supergirl's flying next to them. Flashes are in the Batwing behind Batman. So the two Barrys jump out and start to fight off the Kryptonians. Supergirl's there too. Batman's shooting them from the Batwing. And so Zod fights Supergirl and takes her down and uses the machine to try to extract the power out of her. But the two Flashes stop them. And it's a very exciting fight. So Batman is injured in the fight. Zod is defeated. It's supposed to be a really good fight. And Barry goes to Michael Keaton and apologizes for dragging him into it. And then Batman tells him, you already brought me back. So you assume he dies here, but there's more coming. So Flash of 2022 or 23 or whatever says goodbye to the one from 2013. And he wants to go back to the future. Now, I want to go back for a minute and tell you about a scene that happens in the middle of the film because it's very important. And there's a reason why I'm saving it to talk about it now. So in the middle of the movie, Barry from the present that goes back in time tries to figure out how to save his mom and prevent her from being killed. He realized that she was making dinner when she got killed and she bought a can of tomato sauce at the convenience store. So what he does, he goes to the convenience store and removes all the tomato sauce cans, so she has to go back to the store or go to a different store to prevent her from dying. So he realizes that doing that did alter time. So when he says goodbye to the Flash, he goes back to the convenience store that he took tomato sauce off the shelf, and he realized that he has to put tomato sauce back because his mom has to die in order for time to be okay. Time can only be okay and rectified if his mom dies. So there's an emotional scene here where he runs into his mom. He's in costume apparently, and basically Flash, they talk, and he's like, I'm about to lose someone that I love. And then she's like, well, as long as you preserve their memory, they'll always be with you. It's a scene like that. Those aren't the actual words, but it's like that. So that helps give him closure to what happened to his mom, and he realizes that him screwing up the timeline is not a good idea, even if it brings his mom back. So, like I say, he puts the tomato sauce can back, and he leaves, unlocks the Speed Force again to go back to the future. So this helps, Barry move past this and try to focus on getting his dad out. So he goes back to the Speed Force, like I said, going back to the future. We see the Coliseum Vortex again, and then what we see is that creature again. So you realize that the creature is actually Flash from the future if he had gone through with the plan of preventing his mom's death. So what would have happened is he would have caused a cataclysm, a crisis in the universe, where he would have gotten corrupted by power because he thinks he can control time, basically, and basically the creature is dissolved away, so it never happened. So basically his mom needs to die in order for him to appreciate life and in order for him to appreciate his power. So he goes back to a normal timeline, and the next scene is them at the courthouse. Henry Allen's case is reopened, and there's new evidence that may prove that he is innocent. So that's a happy ending, but we're not done. So then the same Mercedes-Benz from the beginning pulls up with Batfleck. So the Mercedes-Benz pulls up, the door opens, and it's Michael Keaton, not Ben Affleck, stepping out of the Mercedes-Benz. And then Supergirl shows up. So Barry's very confused. He's like, wait a minute. How are you here? I chose to put the tomato can back. My mom died. How are you here? And then they're like, well, maybe you can tell us what happened. And this is where the movie ends, but there is a post-credit scene, and it's pretty important, depending on where they go with this. So the post-credit scene starts with Barry helping out a drunk Aquaman out of a bar. So Jason Momoa does have a cameo here. And then Barry's like, wait here. So, you'll be okay. And he's all messed up or whatever. So he goes home, turns on his computer, and goes to the fridge to get milk or something. I forgot what they told me. Then there's like a distress call on his computer monitor. He goes to it, and it's Batfleck in the Batsuit. So it's Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman in the Batsuit, and he's like, Barry, you got to help me. You changed the timeline. You got to rescue me. So it's implied that he's in another universe and can somehow talk to him, but that's not stated, and that is the post-credit scene. So Ben Affleck's Batman does still exist somewhere, and Barry might have to go save him. So I don't know where they're going to go with this, because obviously, you know, Ben Affleck has decided not to be Batman anymore, but if all of this is kept in the film and not changed, then that means he's probably going to have to come back one more time, right? They're almost teasing a Crisis on Infinite Earths type of storyline here. And that's how the movie ends. So we'll see where they go from here. I don't trust DC because they don't really have a plan, and they kind of change their minds on stuff a lot. Plus, they have a lot of controversy now with certain actors. So I don't know what to think about all this, guys. But that's what I was told. That is the full plot synopsis for The Flash coming out next year. Let's see how much of this comes true. We'll know in that first trailer if I got it right and if my sources were correct. They've been right before. In fact, they've always been right. So what does that tell you? That's it. Thanks again. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.